Let's get you more on this. France 24's Charles Pellegrin joins us now from Beijing. Charles, this election reform effectively then silencing Hong Kong's opposition voices in government. But how exactly does it do that, Charles?
Well, it completely overhauls the electoral system that governs Hong Kong's elections by either throwing out any dissenting voices or making them completely inconsequential. It does that in a number of different ways. First off, by changing the nature of the electoral committee by adding to it 300 pro-Beijing members. This electoral committee will be made of 1,500 members that will be part of 5 different sectors of society that was already leaning pro-Beijing before this reform. And this committee chooses the chief executive of Hong Kong, and in this new law will also be choosing a certain number of the legislators that are in the Legislative Council, which is Hong Kong's parliament. In addition to this, it will also be establishing a vetting committee, a panel that will be looking at every single candidate that one runs for office in Hong Kong, either for the Electoral Committee or for the Legislative Council, and that will be judging whether this candidate can run. They'll be guided by one principle, which is that of patriotism and love for the motherland, for China. This obviously was a criticism that was often leveled at any of the opposition movement in Hong Kong, especially during the protests in 2019. We'll definitely have more details as to how this overhaul will be established and what it will mean exactly in the next few days and weeks, as the Central Committee, Standing Committee of the National People's Congress in Beijing will be drafting the law in more detail. But what's clear here is that Beijing is the one that's deciding what Hong Kong's governance and system of government will look like in the future. And the fate of Hong Kong is steadily in Beijing's hands.
Well, I mean, Charlotte, as we may wait for more details to come through on this, talk us through, if you will, the reaction on the passing of this election reform. I mean, in China, Hong Kong, or perhaps even abroad.
Well, very quickly, in the mainland in Beijing, the government and state media came out in force to support this electoral reform. Prime Minister Li Keqiang, in his annual press conference at the end of the annual session of the National People's Congress, explaining that this move was meant to put the chaos and the protests of 2019 behind us, and to move forward to work towards Hong Kong's stability and prosperity. This is one of the usual narratives of Beijing when it comes to Hong Kong, that the protests sowed chaos and instability, and that Beijing is here to bring back security and stability. The chief executive of Hong Kong, Carrie Lam, also expressed support for the law very quickly, defending against accusations that this was rolling back any progress of democracy in the semi-autonomous territory, saying that no, it plugged various loopholes that threatened national security. There again, national security was one of the big arguments put forward by Beijing. Abroad, well, quite quickly, the UK Foreign Secretary condemned this move, saying that China could not be held responsible and could not be trusted for any of its commitments that it made in the international realm.
All right, Charles Pellegrin, keeping us up to date on those reforms from Beijing. Thank you.